everybody, and welcome to episode 124 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on the corresponding numbered thread of the This Old Knit Ravelry group. This is my co-host, Ada. Hi, Ada. Hi, baby. Oh, so pretty. I was like, why is she trying to get my coffee? And then I realized I put her chew stick there. That was my insurance policy if she started barking. So it's all on the table now. Bets are off. Anyway, welcome to all new viewers and welcome back to all returning viewers. This is a knitting and sewing podcast coming to you from Central Connecticut. And I'm so happy that you took some time out of your day to join me. So today I'm drinking coffee out of my Amsterdam mug. And day before yesterday was Vogue Knitting Live. I took a long weekend, so I took off Friday and Monday, thinking I would need some recovery time. And guys, the struggle is definitely real. Yeah, it's really amazing to get together with so many people and meet up with and hang out with friends and meet new friends, but it's exhausting. And the end of my VKL experience was less than ideal. So yeah, I definitely needed the extra time to just sort of get into a better mental place and just from the high of the fiber fumes and friend fumes. So here I am, and I think it's been maybe 3 weeks since my last podcast. I had to go check the forums, and the last one I had noted was my 2019 year in review. I don't think I've recorded anything since then. So it's a new year, it's 2020. And this is January, so it's my birthday month and my anniversary month. And I finally get to wear legit this t-shirt because it's my Hitchhiker Guide birthday. 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything. For those who've read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is the shirt not amazing? It's got the bowl of petunias that's falling out of the sky saying, oh no, not again. I love it. And I waited to wear it until after my birthday. I mean, I'll love it just in general, but I had to get it. It's from Snorg Tees, if you're interested. I also have another one that I will wear on another podcast at some point. But I really need to wash all my sweaters, so I didn't want to wear any hand knits. So I just wore like this old store-bought black cardigan that I've had for probably 20 years at this point. And yeah, a fun t-shirt. So anyway, enough waffling. I want to, up at the top of the podcast, announce winners for the 2019 Stash Your Shelf Challenge. I drew for the Q4 winner, and it was Martha24 Jane, and she knit a washed out shawl, which I actually wore my washed out shawl to Vogue Knitting Live, and I got to meet Hohi Locatelli, which was amazing, and I met her mom. I had a very weird fangirl moment in the Barnyard Knits booth, and then later I met up with her when I was with Kristen and Ellie, and she was like, oh yes, let's have a hug. So, yeah. Anyway, she was very sweet, and her mom was, of course, very wonderful. But yeah, so Martha24 Jane also knit a washed out shawl, and it was beautiful. And so she wins the Q4 prize, which was a bag that was made by Coddington Autumn. So if you please contact me via Ravelry message, I will get your information over to Autumn, and she will get the bag mailed out to you. And then the second prize, I drew a prize just from all of the chatter for all of the 2019 Stash Your Shelf Challenge, And the winner was post number 65, which is Woman in a Shoe, Mel. So the winner of that prize gets a $10 or less Ravelry downloadable pattern. So Mel, please contact me and let me know what pattern you would like, and I will give that to you on Ravelry. So thank you all again for your participation in the Stash Your Shelf Challenge for 2019. We are rolling that into 2020 as well. So just a quick reminder, anything that was in your stash or on your shelf, actual or virtual, as of December 31st, 2019, counts in the Stash Your Shelf Challenge. Am I going to police this? No, I'm not. If you really wanted to cheat, you could. But why would you? Missing the point. So yeah, I've already got the chatter thread up. I've already got the FOs thread up. There's actually already FOs. You guys are amazing. Whips count. Double dipping, triple dipping, whatever dipping is highly encouraged. If you want to knit something for my other cow, the Mohohi cow, which is Andrea Mowry or Hohi Locatelli patterns, and put it into the Stash Your Shelf Challenge, do it. That's great. You'll be eligible for more prizes. The only caveat is that you must be a member of the group in order to win a prize. Easy peasy. All right. I can't remember if I showed my first FO off or not, so I'm going to show them, and they are a little bit worse for wear because I wore them to Vogue Knitting Live, and I've worn them around the house. So they have Ada fur all over the bottom of them. I will try my best not to show that. And I can't remember if I was done with these for... No, I wasn't. I wasn't done for 2019 because they were my first FO of 2020. They're a little stretched out, but there you go. They are my Cheers socks. The main yarn is by Jinx Yarns. It's in her sparkly base. The contrast yarn is the Crafts Meow in her pine colorway. She is actually dyeing yarn again, so you can get her yarn. You can't get Jinx's yarn unless you get it on D-Stash, of course. I love them. They're great. I used the Vanilla Bean pattern by Emily O'Grady, who is Ooh Fancy Pants on Ravelry. She did have a podcast a long time ago, which I recommend that you go check out the back episodes of, because I learned a lot of good techniques from her. A lot of the things that I learned about, like, adapting sweater patterns and fitting, she gave me kind of the confidence to try some of those things. So yeah, if you go look up her podcast, which I think she should have it linked in her Ravelry profile still. She hasn't podcasted in several years, but hers and the Knitting in Circles podcast are two of the ones that I'm so sad they don't podcast anymore. So anyway, first FO of 2020. My second FO is not blocked. I was going to wait to podcast until this was washed and blocked, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to do it on the long weekend. It looks like we might be getting an oil delivery. Oh, no, it's the trash. We're getting a trash delivery. They're bringing us trash. No, they're picking up our trash. Anyway, I didn't want to wait to podcast, so it is not blocked or washed, but it's already huge. So this is unblocked. It's my entire wingspan. So it's going to be the most glorious schlanket of a shawl ever. And this is the Seedling's Greetings pattern. Ada, you are going to knock my coffee off here. Hang on. Having a dog whose head is like at your height for when you're sitting down. Oh, Ada! It's just a table, baby! I scared her. And then using an ironing board as your podcasting tripod. It's questionable. Okay, Seedling's Greetings. It is a pattern by Skananigans, who is Ellie Alexander Loomis. She's Skananigans on Ravelry and Instagram, and I was a test knitter for this pattern. It is amazing and awesome, and I love it. So it was designed for Advent Minis, and it came in the Seedling Yarn Company's advent calendar, yarn advent calendar. But you can now purchase the pattern separately on Ravelry. Ada, don't do that. She's licking my Valentine's Day lights. I have some of those little LED lights with the wire, and she's licking them. No. He's right here. Not that far down. Beavers. Okay. Watch out for there, Newborn. Thank you. So I used my advent calendar from the Yarn at Home Mom, Shannon. I did not use all of the colors. I only used 12 of my colors, and then I used some leftovers from a couple of projects that I had. So this gray is Poe from Wool and Vine Yarns, and I used that in my Half Moon Oracle shawl. And this side is Weep in Wool and Vine Yarns as well, and I used that in my Sparkling Cider hat. So I had thought I was going to use this one all the way through. I couldn't find it, so I started with Poe, and I ran out about halfway through, and then I actually used all of this as well. So if you want to make it like mine and do like one color with stripes of the other color, I would suggest you have a full skein of kind of the main color, and then you can get away with, what would I say, 10 ounce minis, probably 8 to 10 ounce minis, because I did not use all of mine. So Shannon's minis were very big minis. So I have a lot of them left, well over half of each one. I do plan on knitting, Ada, no. Thank you. I plan on knitting a Land of Sweets cowl as well. So I will have enough to do that too. So just keep that in mind. If you have the larger minis, you'll have plenty to do these stripes. I think it's going to be really cool though. So I literally used every single yard of the Weep. So this part, which is where you go and do almost like a mini pie shawl or a mini half pie shawl to complete the semicircle. I used all the rest of the Weep, and the Poe I have like a teeny bit left, maybe like 10 yards. No, that's too much. Really tiny. I don't have very much left. I've woven in ends up to here. So up through here, I wove in ends, and then I rewarded myself for weaving in that many ends by casting on a sweater, because that's what I do, because I hate weaving in ends. But just to give you an idea, I think it's going to be so cool because you get both colors, you know, on both sides of your body, and it's going to be really nice for doing this because it's going to keep me so warm. So this one's going to be great for walking Ada, because I have problems with a lot of my shawls falling down off my face when I walk her. And then you can tuck that in for seeing all of your beautiful stripes. So I love it. And it's only going to get bigger, so I bet it'll be kind of down there and maybe down over my shoulders. But it's very cozy and nice, and I'm pleased with how it turned out. So, like I said, that's Seedling's Greetings by Ellie, who is Skananigans. She had a discount on it when she released the pattern, and I gifted a bunch of copies to a lot of my friends who I thought would like it, because I know several of them are trying to knit with stash this year, or using up scraps. So I hope those of you I gifted it to enjoy it, and for the rest of you, go get the pattern because it is awesome. So that is FO number 2. My third FO is actually a sewing FO. And honestly, I don't know why I waited so long to do this pattern. So this is the Agnes top by Tilly and the Buttons, and this was the other thing I wore at Vogue Knitting Live. I tried to also wear my Vinterfia, but it was too hot. And, pro tip, velvet and wool do not interface well. They interface a little too well. Like, they never want to come apart again. And putting my arm through the tuku wool sleeve was next to impossible. I had to kind of slowly like walk it down because it would just grip on the texture of the velvet. I'm pretty sure I didn't go the same way with my pile on the velvet between the sleeves and the body, because the sleeves look way shinier than the body, but whatever. It has some mistakes in it, of course, because velvet is so freaking slippery. I said it's the devil's fabric because it just slips and slides everywhere. So if you're not familiar, for stretch velvet, on the back of it, it's like a knit, shiny, shimmery, smooth fabric. And then it's got the velvety pile on the other side of it. But I got a remnant at Affordable Fabrics when I went there with Tanya and Kristen and Gabby. It is one of my favorite fabric stores. It is my favorite fabric store. And everything is $2.99 a yard. So this was a remnant of 2 yards. I still have some left, and I probably have enough to make something American Girl doll. My goodness, this dog is gonna kill me. Okay. Anyway, I got a remnant from the offcuts table that was this really beautiful blush stretch velvet. So I have it also in a like a deep blue, which I think I showed on the last podcast, maybe. Ada, stop it. No. 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 Now I have your fur in my mouth. No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. No. You can't eat my yarn. You already ruined one ball of yarn. And one ball is one too many. It was a sweater quantity. And I don't appreciate it, young lady. Come here. So yeah, the Agnes top, I really love it. It fits very well. And I will be making more of them because I would like to have like a million of these in my wardrobe. I think I'm going to see if I have enough of the narwhal fabric. No. Seriously, Ada. No. Stop. Stop corning. She does this thing where she nibbles things like she's eating corn. And it's usually a sign that she wants to play. But I'm podcasting. So this is exactly what I feared would happen. Hey, don't eat my velvet. No. Stretch velvet is not for your mouth. Ada, stop it. Ada. Hey, 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 stop. No. Hey, 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 hey. Do you want to go outside and play outside? Do you want to go outside and play? And bark and play? I might have to take her outside and put her on her little tie. She likes to just run around in the forest, so we have like a long tie so she can go into the woods right next to the house and dig and eat and do crazy things to her little heart's content. But hey, where's your ball? Where's your ball? You wanna go get your ball? Where's your ball? Go get your ball. I don't want to play bite. No, I don't like playing bite. I don't like that game. No. Whoever taught you this game was crazy. They must have taught you when you were a tiny baby and thought it was so cute. And now you're gigantic. And your head is like a huge melon. And it's not fun. It's not a nice game. It's not. Yeah, it's not a nice game. I don't like it. No. 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 Ada. No. No. Okay, I'm gonna have to put her out and I'll be back. Alright, my hands are none the worse for wear. Yeah, so right there, that was her tooth scraping on my hand. Yeah, we're still, despite her gigantic size, she's still a puppy. So she's about a year old. I think a year and 3 months old. And we're still figuring out what kinds of terrible habits that her former owners taught her, because with Great Pyrenees, you have to keep in mind that they will not stay the tiny, cute fluff ball that they are when they're babies. So you have to treat them like they're 115-pound dogs, because they will be someday. So don't do anything with a puppy that you wouldn't do with a 115-pound dog. And I'm pretty sure that they played like nibbling games, because she likes to do that when she wants to play. She kind of mouths you. Now, she doesn't bite, but she does occasionally like scrape you with her teeth, because her teeth are huge. So every time that she does that, we try to like give her a chew toy, or give her like a baby to chew on or suck on. By, I don't mean a human baby, I mean like a stuffed animal. She has a couple of stuffed toys that she's allowed to have. Or we play with like a ball or a rope toy with her. But I didn't have any of those in here, because I just had the chew toy, thinking that that would be okay, because she was sleeping before I turned on the camera to podcast. And of course, now that I'm up and about, she wants to play. So it's fine. She's not barking, so she'll be outside kind of exploring in the forest and nibbling on sticks and looking at stuff. She loves to just lay in the snow too, so since there's snow outside. I digress. She's a good dog. We just need to train her for what we find acceptable and not acceptable, and she's only been with us for 2 months. So we're getting there. Those are my only FOs for this time. And then I've got several whips. But 3 FOs is good for one podcast. That's a lot for me. Unfortunately, now I have things very precariously balanced, because I was getting yarn to talk about what I was going to cast on next. And then Ada decided that this sweater quantity of blue yarn, which I'm going to use for a new pattern that I purchased by Ellie Skein Deer, not Ellie Skein-anigans, to make the Losna pullover. So I'm going to do the main body in blue and the contrast up here in a like Kelly green. So it's the green that I used for my French toast pullover, for those that are familiar. It was a hand-dyed yarn from Gaia's Colors Fiber Arts. They've she doesn't dye yarn anymore, and she hasn't dyed yarn in over a decade at this point. But I knit one sweater, and I still have like 2 skeins of it left, and it seems a shame to leave hand-dyed yarn in my stash. So I thought that would be really striking to have a bright blue with a bright green yoke. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And that blue is from my Aunt Lynn's stash. I don't remember what it is. It's Brown Sheep Fiber Company, I think, but I don't remember what the base is. It's worsted. And I think it's a non-superwash. Now she's barking. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'll show you whips. We'll check back in on how Ada's doing, and then we'll go from there. Put that down so I don't show the pattern. This is a bag that Kristen sewed for me, and I love it because it is so tall and also very big. So I've got just a couple of balls from the sweater that I want to knit in here, but I think I could easily fit all of them in here and also fit my project, which is often the problem, that a project bag will fit all of the yarn for a sweater, but then it won't actually fit the sweater as you're knitting it. So that's why I love this one. It's going to be so good. So I started my, what I'm referring to as Mauve on Mauve Action sweater. I'm making a Sperry sweater by Amy Miller in several different colors of mauve, and then I'm holding them double with Once Upon a Corgi's yarn that she dyed for the Rhinebeck color, which is called Previous Yarn Engagement. I love mohair when it's caked up because it's just this floofy floof nest. It's so good. And I love it already. I just love working on it and feeling it and enjoying it. So right now I'm working it with Tiptoe, which is on Nouveau. This is a Woolen Vine color. So it's a super pale pink with some subtle gold speckles. So that's going to be my first color, and then I'm going to fade into Jilted Rose, also by Woolen Vine. I think I have that one on the Strassa base. And then I got some sail yarn from Knit New Haven. I think it's Primrose Yarn Company. I don't know. It was in like the 25 or 30% off bin, and it looked like it kind of matched these colors. And then the last color I'm going to do is also Woolen Vine Yarns. And it is another Jilted Rose, but a later version. So it's she didn't call them Strange Brews at that time. I don't remember what she called it, but it was like a one-of-a-kind skein, like an off dye of Jilted Rose, but it's just darker, but it's the same kind of color family, so it's all gonna work really well together. And with holding it double with the previous yarn engagement, that's, I think, gonna blend them even more, because it'll be one color of the mohair with different colors of yarn. So anyway, this is how it's knitting up so far. I'm not very far along. What I'm doing, I really liked how I did this with my other Sperry, is I knit until I joined the neckline. I knit a couple more rounds, and then I actually picked up the neckband so that it would stop curling like this, because I hate this right now. It's driving me flipping insane, because you can see it's like spiraling around my needle. That's because it's stockinette right now on the neckline. So it's just gonna roll until I go pick up for the ribbing. So with my other one, I stopped, took a different needle, picked up for the neckline, knit the ribbing, and then I kept knitting down. So I'm gonna do that with this one as well, and that'll stop all this crazy curling. But I'm not at the point yet where you join the neckline, because you kind of, it's a boat neck. So you work back and forth to create that boat neck, and then you join everything in the round, and then you start knitting downward. But it's also a raglan, so there's a lot of the at the same time do this instructions. I also have on here my Blueberry Shortcake marker by Little Bitty Delights. She did that as a collaboration with the Yarn at Home Mom. I think last Valentine's Day, or maybe 2 years ago Valentine's Day, for, you know, Suki and Jackson from Gilmore Girls. I think I still have the yarn here that came with it. I needed the strawberries. Is the colorway. So this is the colorway. I may actually cast these on. I think this would be a really pretty hat with this as the brim. The contrast color it came with is Vicious Trollop, which is like the best hot pink. I also have more of this in singles, so I could do something more if I wanted to have additional bits of Vicious Trollop on my hat. So that's that. I love this so far. I know it's not very much to show, but it's very fun to knit with mohair held double. It's like a little bunny. It's so soft. So that's my Sperry sweater. Excuse me. I'll take those out to show later, but also at Vogue Knitting Live, I hung out with Kristen and Ellie, who's skating here, for pretty much the whole day, and then kind of people dipped in and out of the group. Danny joined us for a while. Mina joined us for a while. Shamika joined us for a little while. Who else was? We hung out with Liz from Trey Liz for a bit. Ashby. I'm trying to think who was at the dinner table. There were two guys from Montreal. One of them is the designer of the Snuggla's Real Cowl. God, why am I blanking on their names? I'm sorry. I didn't hang out with them for very long because I went to dinner and then I had to leave like 10 minutes later because I was going to catch my train back to Connecticut and I missed it by like 2 minutes. That was very stressful. The next train was not until the next morning at 2:40 a.m. But I knew that Metro North ran trains, so I actually looked up on the website if they still had trains running, and their trains still run till like 2 a.m. They run all night. So I hopped over to Grand Central because I was at Penn Station. That's where the Amtrak goes out of, and that station sucks. The signage sucks. So New Yorkers, F on the signage. If you're not from New York, you do not make it easy for people visiting there. So I got a little turned around in the station, and I was on the side that has the Long Island Railroad. And so I asked like a guy who was an attendant for the Long Island Railroad, and he just like screwed around with me for a good 5 minutes of, I said, okay, I feel like I'm going the wrong way because I'm kind of passing restaurants that I passed as I was walking away from the Amtrak terminal, but I can't quite get my bearings. Is it that way? And he's like, no. I'm like, is it that way? And he's like, no. I'm like, I'm running out of directions, man. You're killing me here. And he's like, I'm not doing a very good job, am I? I'm like, seriously? This is what we're going to do? And he said, no, actually, it's this. So he gives me instructions. Like, that 5 minutes that I spent with him messing around with me is probably why I missed my train. Just be kind, people. Just be kind. If someone is genuinely lost and asking you in a very kind way about instructions, maybe just chill and help them. Just saying. Karma. It'll come back. Oh my god. Tangent. So Ellie had these progress keepers that she was giving out that Patricia made for her, who's P410, and she's actually releasing some new progress keepers in her shop that I want so bad. They're little mittens with different salvo designs on them. So cute. But she makes them all with birch, reclaimed birch from her sheep farm. So it says Skandir on it. It has a little deer. And I brought my Winterfjell at least. So she was giving them out to anyone that was like wearing one of her designs. And I said, well, I can't wear it because velvet plus tuku wool, they don't mesh. And it was hot. So I wasn't even wearing my shawl for part of it. She's like, yeah, no, you get a pass on that. So anyway, she gave me this little progress keeper, which will definitely be on other projects. But I put it here so I wouldn't forget to show it. That is whip number 1. We're being pretty chatty here. Whip number 2 is my covered in Ada fur sweater bag. No, it's not. It's my yellow So Faded. And I don't know why I'm not picking this up or gravitating towards it because I love it. Maybe I've finally burnt myself out on So Faded sweaters. I feel like I had a little period there where I wanted to cast on socks. So, since this one is basically a giant body sock, I don't know. But I have been picking it up and doing a row here and there. I think I just needed to get some like mohair held double out of my system. And then I will come back to it because I do want it, and I think it would be really pretty for spring because it just reminds me of like a happy springy color. So yeah, I'm on the 3rd colorway. This one is Life in the Long Grass Cushion. This one is Bad Wolf Girl Studios in Beaubatons. And the third one I'm doing now is Adelaide Cottage, and I'm ready to wallow now. And my fourth colorway will be Big Bash in Bowl of 9 Yarns. So I've gotten pretty far on it though. I mean, I just have to finish the body and then do the sleeves. It's really not that much. I should just do it. But I want to work on my, maximum video recording reach. I want to work on my 2 mohair projects, mohair held double projects. So anyway, the next thing I've been working on, or really not working on, because I cast this on for Vogue Knitting Live. It was going to be my project I just sat and knit on when I was chatting with people, because I want to knit on socks when I'm chatting with people, because I really don't have to think about them. So I'm using one of my Knit Picks Hawthorne sock reels. This one is the Rugby Stripe colorway. And they're basically like a teeny tiny sock blank tube. I'm trying to get my finger in there so I can show you how small it is. But it's the size of like my pinky sock tube. And I love that they stack. I kind of want to get them all just so that I can have a stack of them, which is stupid. I shouldn't do that. But they're also really awesome. So at VKL, I cast this on right before VKL. I knit this much. So I knit the entire body of the sock and part of the heel flap. I knit a little bit of this heel flap yesterday, but not very much. Most of it I did between sitting at VKL and on the train home. Because I didn't do it on the train there. I worked on my stoker. So of course it's the wiggly wobbly from a sock blank yarn, which I kind of had to get over that, but it's fine. I was expecting the gray to be a lot cleaner, or the bluish, it's kind of a bluish marly rag shade, but it's not. So if you are thinking that, it is more of a, like it's got pinks in it, so it's not a clean delineation of the stripes. Like they're more blended, which is still really beautiful. I definitely love it, and I think it's pretty. It just wasn't what I thought when I looked at the picture on the website. So if you're thinking about it, just keep that in mind, that it's more marly and the dye is not as clean. It's kind of more tie-dye, I guess. But that's fine. It's still very pretty. So I'm just doing a basic vanilla sock pattern. I know it's just my sock recipe. It's not anything magical. I learned how to knit socks from a 1920s leaflet for Red Cross war socks. So that's what I make. I make Red Cross war socks for soldiers. And they fit my feet. The next whip I have, sorry, it's like a collapsing pile, is kind of at the same place. So I have 2 socks that the legs are done and I'm on the heel flap, which is sort of annoying because I don't particularly like knitting heel flaps, but I love good heel flap and gusset. So once I'm done with the heel flap, that's when the magic happens. So that much of doing something that I'm like, it's okay. This is in the Mondim sock yarn. I saw this on Tommy's podcast, who's Squirrel Pie Productions, and I was super jealous of her socks, and I wanted some of my own. So I ordered some from the Woolly Thistle. I think they still have this colorway in stock. But it's like mint and chocolate and pink, and I think this is just the perfect color combination. I really love it. And they feel like they're going to be really cozy, warm socks. So again, just a basic vanilla sock recipe. Heel flap and gusset. This is my first of the 2 socks. But since I was on the heel flap, I didn't want to take this one to VKL because this is the one part of a sock where I have to concentrate. So I cast on a new one, but that's fine. So now I need to get them both through that and knit them so that I can have some new socks. So I guess 2020, I'm going to allow socks back into my life. We've had a long break from each other. We're good. It's all going to fall into the couch. And as I mentioned, the next thing I worked on, which I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of glare on my screen, so hopefully it's not getting blown out on your side, but it's hard for me to see what I'm doing. The next thing that I knit on is my Stoker shawl. This is a pattern by Kristen of Vogue Knitting Yarns. I'm knitting it out of some gigantic alpaca cake yarn. This is prime alpaca from Hillstream Alpacas, I think. It is a tiny farm stand that they're at wool gathering every year, but they have really good prices. So I think this giant, like 600 yard skein of sport weight yarn was $20, maybe less than that. So I have several of them. I have 3 of this color, and then one each of like a darker color and like a cream, a natural cream, that I want to knit together into a shawl. Perhaps the new satellite shawl by Andrea Mowry that I bought because. So Stoker is a triangular shawl with bobbles running down like the spine portion of the shawl. So here it is so far. I've knit 7 bobbles. I need to do 9 of them, and then it will start on a portion where you've got like strips of purl bumps delineating the triangle, and then you'll have stockinette sections and then more purl bumps. So I'm excited to get to that section. I really need to change my cord length because it's long enough that the 24-inch cord is not working out. It's almost coming off of my needles. And I've got a little progress keeper from Charmed and Dangerous. This was my replacement pumpkin narwhal, so he's a bit darker than his little brother. But now I have 2 of them, and I love them both. So yeah, this too is also very, very soft, and I want this for a camping shawl and just general like deep winter shawl, because alpaca is going to be light but very warm. So this is really, really light, but it's super warm. So I'm excited about that. I might knit on that a little more today. I love just touching things and being like, I want to work on that because I like touching it. And the last thing I'm working on is, again, more Fuzzy Fuzz Fuzz. It's very cold today, so this one I definitely couldn't take to VKL, but I'm enjoying the heck out of working on it. It is the Cal and My Cowl, also by Vine. I think I did something wrong when I ripped back, so I screwed up on the chart and I wasn't reading how to move the marker. Maybe not though, because it does it on the second one up here. But essentially there's 2 places in the chart you're changing stitch counts, so you have to move the marker. I moved it at the beginning of the round instead of the end of the round, so then my pattern wasn't lining up properly, so I had to just like take the needles out and frog back, I think like 4 or 5 rows, and I'm worried that I frogged back 1 extra row from what I should have done. And then when I put the thing back on the needles, it's just a little bit funky. It's not laying really nice. So I think I did something wrong there. I don't know. But I'm hoping it'll kind of block nicely because it's too far. I'm not ripping it back again. I think it will block out. So this is the Callan My cowl, and I am knitting it out of Full and Vine yarns in a, I think, one of a kind colorway on the Volca base. It's very old. It's called Beach Bum. So it is a peach with bright neon orange speckles and hot pink, because Kristen secretly likes hot pink. I know the truth. I know the truth. This mauve thing, it's all just a cover. No. But, yeah, it's a really nice color. And with the mohair, it's kind of toning it down a bit so you can see those neon speckles, but they're not as crazy. And I'm holding it, sorry, crochet hooks. I'm holding it double with Toad Hollow yarns in the That'll Do Pig colorway. So this one is just a soft peachy color with speckles of kind of neon yellow, yellowish green. Look at that floof. Oh my god, so good. And then I'm also using beads. So the pattern calls for beads, but of course you can do it without the beads and it would still be beautiful. But I'm using these Earth Fair beads that I also had in my stash, because I bought them. I bought two for my sparkling cider hat, and I couldn't decide which one to do when I was looking at them on the website. So I just bought both, and I used the darker ones that were like gray pearlescent. So these are clear pearlescent. They're crystal is the colorway of the beads. They are 6/0 beads from earthfair.com. They're kind of pearlescent clear beads. And here is the shawl with all of that goodness on it. I think they're so pretty. It's going to be so awesome and warm and soft and snuggly. I matched my Progress Keeper. So this is the Grapefruit Donut Progress Keeper from Little Bitty Delights. And again, this was from the Gilmore Girls Club. No, this was like a one-off. They were doing things for a while where they sold one-off matching Progress Keepers and yarn. So this is the grapefruit that tastes like a donut yarn that went with it. And for Gilmore Girls fans, you know what episode that's from. So that Progress Keeper came with it. But again, I haven't knit that yarn. It will find its home someday. So I love my Callan My, and I was knitting away on this before BKL, and then I kind of wanted to cast on a sweater and get a little bit done on that. I might go back to this, but again, because it's knitting with beads, it has to be something where I can sit down. I'm not going to be interrupted by the dog or the children, and I can really focus. So I actually left it on the row after the beading so that I would know which row I'm on my chart, because there's only one bead placement per chart, so I know for sure what round I'm on right now. So that is my Callan My. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it in time to enter it into the Cal. She has one going on right now, I think until March 1st or February 1st. I don't know. I have time to finish it based on how quickly I'm going with it. And that is everything that I've been working on. Yes? Yes? Yes. So we will move along to acquisitions. I'm going to put this pattern away first. We will not move on to acquisitions. Because I want to keep those together. Okay. So in the acquisition territory, I got some patterns. So as I mentioned, for VKL, there's a lot of designers that release patterns leading up to VKL, because then they'll either have samples knit there at the show or they'll be wearing them if they're going to be there. So there were several designers that had things come out. Amy Miller was there and I did not see her, or I would have fangirled. But she was wearing her new sweater design called Silver Lake, which I did purchase. I think I'm going to use the yarn from this year's Rhinebeck that I got because it calls for DK weight, and I got a blue, like a kind of slate blue, and I'm going to use white as the contrast color. So it's a 2-color, all over color work pullover, and it's called Silver Lake. So I will insert a picture here. And I think that's going to be really pretty with like that slate blue with the white contrast, instead of, she knit it white with a black contrast. Then the next pattern I purchased is Satellite by Andrea Mowry. So it is a big slankety or schlankety triangular shawl. And I think it's knit with 3 colors. One of them you're holding mohair with it. So I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do yet. I actually do have some alpaca lace weight yarn. So it's got the floof, but it's not as floofy as mohair, that I've had in my stash for a long time. I'm looking over at it. It is Knit Picks Alpaca Cloud, I think. And it's in like an olive color. So I actually have a couple of different olives that I have from Kristen's Twin Peaks Yarn Club. I think it was called the Twin Steaks Yarn Club. In Log Lady, I have Not a Creature Was Stirring, which is like a Christmas colorway she did a couple years ago. And then I have one called Happy Camper that's like white with speckles of green and orange for like campfire, which was a one-of-a-kind skein. So I've kind of wanted to put those 3 together for something. So I think if I use one with the mohair, one with the alpaca silk, one with by itself, and then the other one is like the contrast color, I think that'll be really pretty. And I don't have anything that's like olive green for a shawl, so it'll be something really different that I don't have in my wardrobe. And I want to knit all the giant blanket shawls. So yeah, I will insert a picture here. And of course that counts for the Andrea Mowry cowl, the Mohohi cowl as well. And then the final thing I purchased that I have written on this paper that I don't have in my hands because I haven't actually printed them out yet is the Losna pullover by Skein-Deer. And that one I already showed you the yarn. I'm going to use that very bright blue with a contrasting green yoke here. So those are the 3 I don't have. And then Joji Locatelli was having a pattern sale, and my friend Andrea so graciously pointed out to me that she was doing that, which, you know, I needed more Joji Locatelli patterns. But I got the Looking Back, which I also have it printed out, the Timeless Henley, which I did print out. And I think I'm going to make this in the Favorite Tea colorway from Two Sisters Yarn Co. That I got when they stopped dyeing yarn. But I think this would be a really classic, like wear it all the time kind of sweater in like a light gray. And then I also got the Ziggy shawl, which I've mentioned before that I wanted to knit, and I'm going to do that in kind of in Tea Leaves, and I think it's Vixen. I think so. I think it's Tea Leaves and Vixen. It's 2 colors of Woolen Vine. So that is my plan for those. Oh, I forgot yarn over there. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna go get it. And I also got a cross stitch pattern. I saw this on the website, stitched onto a white t-shirt, and they had a little ribbon bow instead of this cross-stitched bow, and it was so stinking cute. I want it really bad. It's called Whale in Light Bulb. And this lady, I love her designs so much. She is a Russian woman. I can't read her name. I think it's Maria something. I'll put a link in the show notes to her Etsy shop because she has a lot of really unique cross-stitch designs, and I really love them. She has a lot of cute little dragon ones, like dragons sleeping on different things. So anyway, this one is a little whale inside of a light bulb sleeping, and he's got a heart, and he is so freaking cute. And I want him on a shirt like nobody's business. So that's all my patterns that I purchased. And then we will move on to VKL and my gifts. Okay. And I think that after this month, I'm probably going to be taking a little... Oh, my husband sent me a message. Sorry. Taking a little break from purchasing, which I knew that I probably would be anyway. Just some life stuff happening, and I want to make sure that I'm being mindful of that. But for Christmas, Tommy dyed a special colorway called Pine Cones and Holly Berries, and she had a pre-order, so mine came, and that is this beautiful yarn right here. So Tommy's company is Moonstone Dye Works, and she has the Squirrel Pie Productions podcast, and she is amazing. So this is Pine Cones and Holly Berries, and she also included another skein for me as a Christmas gift. So thank you, Tommy. And this was a colorway of hers I really wanted also. And these two, I think, are going to be a shawl together. I think they're going to be the Trelawney shawl. I'm going back and forth on if I want to make these into the Ziggy shawl and the other two into the Trelawney shawl, because I think it looks better in high contrast, and Ziggy actually would look better with less contrast, because it was initially written for a single color. I have to look at the yardage and see which one's going to work for which, because Tyne said that she used all of her yarn for her Trelawney, so I have to make sure I have the same, at least the same yardage as her, so that I'll be able to complete the shawl and it won't run out of yarn. So these are 400 yards per skein, and I think Volca is a little bit more than that. I think it's like 410 or 420. So anyway, these will either become a Ziggy or a Trelawney shawl. But the other one she gifted me is Gemini. And look at those two together. They're so pretty. Yeah, I think a Ziggy would be really pretty in these, but I don't know. Anyway, this is her singles base, her merino single, and this one is her merino sock. So very, very pretty. Gemini and Pine Cones and Holly Berries. So thank you very much, Tommy, for the beautiful skein of yarn and for being your awesome self. At VKL, I purchased a skein of the Lola Bean Yarn Co. show exclusive colorway. It's called The City So Nice They Named It Twice, and it is like a kind of grayish background with just speckles everywhere. So many speckles. Speckle, 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 speckle. I think it'd be really cool to do a black sweater with this as like a colorwork or lace contrast on it to really just let those speckles pop. And then the other yarn I got at Vogue Knitting Live is I got a sweater quantity of Barnyard Knits. And I actually ran into Stacy from the Stress Knits podcast and the dyer behind Stress Knits in that booth. And she knew who I was and said hello and was so happy to run into me. I think because she's friends with Melissa Ellie. She's calling herself Ellie. Skenanigans. They're friends, and since I chat with her frequently on Instagram, that's probably how she knows me. So this is Mermaid Tails, and it is the most amazing sea green, like semi-solid but with speckles ever. It's so good, so beautiful. And I feel like I want to make a cardigan with it. I was thinking this would make a really pretty LYS sweater from Andrea Mowry, which is a cardigan. It's a cropped cardigan, but I would knit it full length. And it has just a couple of bobbles on it, but not very many. But yeah, I think this would make a really beautiful LYS, and just it would be very different, and it would match a lot of things. So I couldn't pass this up. I had it in my hands. It was 30 minutes into the show, and I was like, and now I've spent my budget, so I'm done. I went right away to Lola Bean because I knew she would probably sell out of her show colorway, and I wanted to get that done. And then I went to Barnyard Knits next, and I went to Cat Sandwich Fibers next to check on a yarn colorway for my friend Andrea, but they didn't have it in the base she wanted. And then I went to Barnyard Knits, and then I bought the sweater quantity, and I was done. So it's fine. I just kind of walked around with people at the show, and yeah. So that was my last thing that I bought of yarn. And then I did get some stitch markers. I got this cute Hello Kitty tin to hold stitch markers at CVS. It had candy in it, which was gross, and I gave it to Joshua. But I wanted it for a stitch marker holder. So some of my favorite stitch markers are from One Geek to Craft Them All. She has a really nice way that she twists the wire that she hangs them on, so that it does not have any exposed ends, so it doesn't get caught, and it doesn't, like, it's not just a traditional circle, so your yarn doesn't slip through the jump ring break. So she made a set of stitch markers for VKL, so it's got a classic subway bus token. There's a couple of plain markers. I couldn't decide on what color, so I went with rainbow, because then I get all the colors. I don't know if this is the Brooklyn Bridge or the GW Bridge. The Statue of Liberty, of course. And an apple for the Big Apple. And it says New York, New York on it. So that was my stitch marker set that I got. I really wanted to get some markers from her because I use the ones that Kristen gave me a couple years ago for my birthday, like all the time. They're always on a project somewhere. They're my favorite markers, so I wanted to make sure I got more from One Geek to Craft Them All. The last thing came in the mail yesterday. So Nancy of Trilogy Yarns contacted me, I feel like it was at the beginning of December, and asked me if she could donate a prize to the year-long knit-alongs. And I was like, yes, of course, that would be so great, and thank you so much for your generosity. So she sent this skein of yarn as a prize. So it's in the basil chiffon colorway on the Glamorous base, which is a 80-20 merino nylon blend. And it's like a springy green background with darker turquoise and like an olive speckle, and there's also some brownish tones there. And then she also included some yarn for me. So yeah, she sent me a message that she was so sorry about not getting it out to me, and so she included a sweater quantity for me. I didn't have to do that. I get it. Life gets in the way, and I'm not going to draw for a prize in a while, but thank you. Thank you, Nancy. It was very generous of you. So she sent me this sweater quantity of the most gorgeous mauvey pink. Mauvey rosy pink. And this is the Somewhere in Time colorway. And it's also on the Glamorous base. So 80-20 superwash merino. And there's some tees in there. There's also, there's not a tee in here, but I will include a tee in this package for whoever wins. I'll move one of the tees over for you. So that was the last thing that I received. And like I said, as far as VKL, it was a really great time. Thank you to everyone who said hello, who so graciously let me chat with you and talk to me. I saw Gigi and Adela and trying to think, MJ from Cat Sandwich. Yeah, it's a blur. It's just a blur of awesomeness. So I've kind of posted things on my stories as I've come across them. It was great to hang out with Ellie and to meet her in person. She's just as awesome in person as she seems like she would be. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and stop there because I've already babbled on for an hour. Ada clearly wants to come inside. I need her to eat. So I'm going to try to convince her to eat her lunch. And I'm going to go swatch for my Comfy Fade cardigan because I saw several of them and I really desperately want this sweater now. And I need kind of a DK weight sweater. I have a lot of fingering weight sweaters and it's getting into the colder part of the year. So I need to take the inspiration and start, knitting some heavier weight stuff. I'm also going to swatch for my Losna so that I can have like a worsted weight, a DK weight, and a fingering weight sweater or two on the needles. So, and my coffee's getting cold. So until next time, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for participating in the 2 cals that we have going right now. I will try to get show notes and this podcast up today. And until next time, spend some time doing the things you love, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Oh, little Ada, what are you doing? Look at her. So majestic.
She's looking at me like, Mom,
my belly's naked. You spayed me and now I have no fur on my belly. Okay.
Bye guys, for real.
Ada, what do you have? Show me your ball.
Oh, come on. There.